Very good morning to you.
Morning, and thank you for having me.
Congratulations.
No, thank you very much.
What do you think was behind the slight increase in pass rates?
3.1 for a big system, it's not slight. For the increase, let's put it in that context. So, I think it's hard work by teachers in the main, schools, and I think a stabilizing system. It's a troubled system, it's huge, it's highly diverse, but I think teachers in the main, the learners, parents, and provinces have, but more important also, the support we've been getting from communities, from universities, private sector. I think all of them are beginning to yield results. Yeah.
What do you make of the DA's comments? They say that the real pass rate is in fact 38.9% when they're looking at the total number of learners that actually go through the system. They say that only 38.9% of the grade 10 learners actually wrote and passed matric. Equal Education is also querying those figures.
Same old story. Every time we announce results, the same negative narrative. As department, we register learners. We know how many learners we registered in 2008. On a daily basis, we keep the records. We can tell anybody who is in the system, who has gone out of the system. According to our statistics, up to grade 9, we have universal access up to 90%. After grade 9, around grade 10, because of a number of problems, we begin to see attrition rates of about 30%. So where they get the story, I'm not sure. As I say, I'm confident that we're the ones who register them, we're the ones who keep records on a daily basis. And
because there seems to be a massive fallout after grade 2 in many provinces.
No, it's repetitions. So we have huge repetition rates, and which is what we're dealing with. And then high dropout rates after grade 9.
All right, let's just listen to one education analyst who said he was a bit disappointed that you didn't mention mathematics. Clearly we've got a problem when that's concerned. Nick Spohr from Stellenbosch University says that the number of pupils that wrote and passed maths has actually decreased. Let's listen to what he said.
No, we have what we call technical briefing, where we go into detail subject by subject. We have nothing to hide, because it's in the interest of the public and ourselves to make sure that we take the true facts out, so that everybody is focused in the same direction. So we have no reason to lie. Before we announce results, we normally have a technical report where we give all statistics. So we won't highlight maths alone, then accounting. Why all subjects are just as important. We should also talk about physical science. We should also talk about accounting. And if you want me to, there are 47 subjects. We can't account for them when we announce the results, but we give statistics in our technical report, and every other subject we just say where we've gone up, where we've gone down, where are the challenges, and what are the things that we are dealing with them. For instance, we're expecting very low registrations around accounting, so we also have to really say what is it that makes learners not take accounting. And the reasons that we came up with is that accounting has been linked up to maths, and if we have maths, a very low take-up on maths, then which means you're going to have a low take-up on accounting. So
those gateway subjects, which are
so we have no reason to lie, because we want everybody. I mean, what do we gain by misleading the public?
All right. Okay, we won't listen to that because I think we've moved on. But Sato was saying that one of the problems with education in this country is actually dealing with it from the grassroots level, that until we tackle that, we'll never progress.
No, they're very correct. And that's why the ruling party at its last conference said we have to ramp up your ECD from 0 to 12. And that's why the president also has called for a reading revolution. Until we can sort out your early foundations, it's quite difficult to sustain performance. Then that's why we need lots of interventions, lots of support, children coming to school on Saturdays, because of weak foundations. So Sato is quite correct. And that's why in this time our biggest focus is around your early childhood development, which is 0 to 12.
They were also saying that so much money is wasted on support programs, and that possibly the focus should also move now onto education in your home language. Is that a possibility?
It's ideal. It's ideal to, and there's all evidence that people learn better in the language they're comfortable, so that there's no interference between language and concepts of learning. You could see even it's in terms of the performance of different language groups, that learners who learn, for instance, in Afrikaans perform quite well because they're very comfortable with the language. So it's ideal. But say, for instance, in Gauteng, where you have all the languages, it's a question of resources and provisioning, but ideally that should happen. If we have provinces which have very few languages, like the Eastern Cape has started a project of piloting and testing what it will take to teach learners, because the majority of those kids will speak in Xhosa, that we can be able to do that. So it's not possible countrywide where there are multiple languages, but it is possible in provinces where you have very few languages, and provinces are beginning to toy with it, and we are watching the research and the work that is being done in the Eastern Cape to see what it will take in terms of provisioning, in terms of skill, and if it makes a big difference. Okay. So that it should not change for the sake of changing.
There are lots of other issues that need to be wrapped up in order to make our education more solid, better in this country. Incentivizing teachers, getting the right teachers in there with the right levels of education, removing the violence from the schools, better conditions, getting rid of the pit latrines. When are we going to see all of that improving or being removed?
It's more than that, but at least you've highlighted quite a few of those. We have to deal with our infrastructure backlog. It's huge. The resources, because as I say, it's not norms and standards which give you schools, it's money that will give you schools. Our backlog stands at about 98 billion.
Do we have the money for it?
We don't have the money for it, and the country doesn't have the money for it. So even if we can pronounce, and tomorrow it's easy on paper to say I can sign norms and standards. It don't give me classrooms. It's the money that will give me classrooms. So that's one of the big issues. The second issue is to deal with the infrastructure of our education system, because for a long time we've really been channeling most of our learners in the academic stream. And it's not economically viable, even in terms of the economy. All successful economies, your France, your German, most of the 40%, less than 40% of their learners go into academic stream. We have to change the architecture of the education system. And that's why we're introducing more subjects. We have to make sure that we create pathways so that children can take courses and careers according to their talents, their gifts, their interests, and their abilities. But now we've been channeling all of them in one direction because we don't have adequate pathways. We have to, as I say, ramp up from the bottom. For me, that's the main thing now. If we have to sustain progress and improvement, we have to ramp up from the bottom.
Well, very good to talk to you. I know you've got lots of work to do, so I'm going to let you go.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks.